Ted Sarandos, what can he expect today? I think it's 2:30 p.m. local time when he is going to be in Washington.
I think it'll be really interesting to watch this hearing because there are a couple of different topics that could come out. The first is this merger and how it will play out in light of overall questions around mergers and acquisitions more generally. We certainly have seen increased scrutiny, particularly in the tech sector, and a concerning shift at times away from that focus on consumers. But also because this will inevitably bring up other topics potentially related to tech policy. Will we see questions around content moderation or speech or any other number of the topics that have come up around tech companies and their decisions also come up in light of this particular hearing?
Which actually having headlines across the terminal that Paramount's Ellison has declined the hearing invite on this Warner Brothers Discovery hearing itself. As we get more, we'll bring it to you. I want to go back to Disney. We just spoke with the chair of the board. I didn't get a chance to ask him, but earlier in the week, Disney's CFO said that a combined Netflix and Warner Brothers would be awfully big. Do the other players in the field have a stake here in how proceedings in these hearings run, their voices from the outside?
One of the real questions in examining this potential transaction is going to be that question of market definition. Who exactly does a combined Netflix and Warner Brothers compete with? Is it the wide array of streaming services, which we see many pop up all the time? Disney has its own, as you just referenced, but there are also very specialized streaming services. Is it the broader entertainment complex that could also include things like short-form videos on YouTube and TikTok and any number of things? Is it the going to the movie theaters and the kind of production side of things? So this is something that's certainly going to come up in the debate over this potential transaction, not only here in the U.S., but also internationally, where it could face scrutiny as well under a different standard, one that might be less focused on consumers and more focused on competitors, really raising questions of would the consumers lose out if a transaction is blocked because it would harm consumers or would harm competitors, not because the consumers are harmed, but because it might make competition more difficult.
Jennifer, just go to that competition abroad in particular. Where do you think the definitions get more murky? Or where indeed does Netflix and enlarged Netflix have to fight harder? Is it all about the likes of TikTok or YouTube, as you say? Or I'm sure in China there are a completely different field of candidates.
Well, I think when it comes to the actual transaction, where we're more likely to see scrutiny are places like Europe and South Korea. We've seen other acquisitions by American tech companies be scrutinized over there. I'm thinking about things like the Microsoft Activision transaction. We certainly saw scrutiny from abroad focused on the potential impact, not on consumers, but on competitors. And when I say the impact on competitors, I don't mean any kind of anti-competitive behavior. I mean that this would make competitors potentially have to raise their level of competition, something that we should want in the market, because raising the level of competition, raising that standard benefits consumers. And so that's really what we should ideally be focusing on.
Jennifer, very quickly, based on past precedent and the frameworks you've outlined, does Netflix Warner Brothers Discovery go through?
This is going to be interesting to watch because in some ways this is going to be the first time the new merger guidelines, the revised merger guidelines, have really come up, particularly in the tech sector in the U.S. So it will certainly be something to watch in terms of not only how do we see this play out with these revised merger guidelines here in the U.S., as well as what challenges do we see from abroad, and are we able to maintain that focus on the consumers and on the way that this transaction could potentially benefit them.